Now, first off, I would actually like to show the messages I'm going to mention in this video, but I don't have permission to call people out by name and all this, so I'm not even going to do that. But obviously, this is around the whole update to what has been happening with remasters, what is going on, why is everything going all topsy-turvy, and overall, why is there a lack of them recently, even though so much as half a year ago this was a staple bread and butter faculty of the channel? Well, that is unfortunately because there has been a lot of things on YouTube's end as of recently that has come back and affected me and a lot of other people who remaster media. And that is unfortunately the great upheaval of local law, basically, when applied to the internet. Now, to be clear here, when I say all this, I want to make it clear that it's no one's really fault on the lower end at Google. I know a lot of people put stress on employees, especially the lower end guys, being like, y'all should put more pressure on the guys up top, try to get things straightened out. They can't afford to do that. They have lives to live, they got families to feed, and they got their own mouths to feed. So I don't put any stress on these people at Google on the lower end for not trying to start this great big corporate uprising, basically. Or uprising in general. Not that really we should have uprisings on any level in a corporation because, well, I don't need micro wars that are non-sanctioned. But slight jokes aside, things have gotten bad. Before, a long time ago on the internet, you could look at your local law, you could look at your state law, you could just look at your country's law, and you'd basically be knowing what you're stuck with. But nowadays, we're facing the reality of a lot of countries have contradicting law relating to the internet, especially between the United States and China, and surprisingly enough, the United States and the United Kingdom, interestingly enough. There are other things like Russia and the rest of the world. Lots of countries are competing against each other for having what is the standard of internet law. And well, this time my channel has gotten caught in the crossfire. This all started a while ago when I wanted to remaster certain media. We had a whole list of songs that tried to get uploaded to the channel, and this would result in what songs are currently available on my remastered playlist today for song remasters. The songs you see there are really 50-50 the songs I wanted half the time. Originally, I wanted to do other media to remaster that sounded kind of old and janky, but I just couldn't do it because of copyright law in other countries. But I always had the relaxation of, well, United States law at least has my back. I'm a resident in the United States of America. I'm a citizen here. These are the laws I'm supposed to follow. It's not like someone from the United Kingdom can hand me a lawsuit here in America unless I break, American copyright law, which I try really hard not to. I try to stay within the defense. Keep in mind, fair use is stay within the defense of fair use. I try to stay within copyright law in America, and I try to stay within what is open source or public domain, and surprisingly, both can apply. Just because something is free and or open source doesn't mean it's public domain, and just because something is public domain doesn't always mean it falls within fair use, especially when you're talking about international laws and agreements. And, funny thing, did you know there are treaties over media? I literally didn't know that till today. But then again, it's not really surprising. This isn't something until I've done research wider for this video, trying to put all the facts together. But yeah, there's a whole lot of buried stuff when it comes of what can you post, what can you talk about, what can you use, especially when you're talking about the world abroad. And the world abroad, unfortunately, tends to trump the country's law you live in. So that is really why a lot of media on my channel is getting hit. That's why a lot of remasters that I wanted to do couldn't be uploaded in the first place. And this even affected things such as Nightcore and the VHS stock footage films I try to make using nothing but stock footage and altered media. This has affected genuinely every aspect of the channel. And well, gets rough sometimes. It legitimately does. And overall, then there are the issues of images and other things. So many things I have just tried to upload on the channel over the years, even before I did remasters, honestly. Just hit after hit after hit after hit. And it's really a wonder why smaller channels can't grow. I do something as generic as have video in the background to help entertain everybody, and I'm getting called a criminal for apparently stealing footage, which it isn't stealing. It's generic YouTube videos all of us can find anyway. And guess what? Countries like the United States are very clear on stuff like this, but then you get to the world abroad, and then I have people from other countries calling me a criminal when by my country's definition, I'm not. You gotta love that. You really gotta love that. And if this is the amount of attention I'm getting as a fucking low-end guy, as a small channel, just because I have an interest in remastering and reusing media that already exists, I can't imagine what larger channels who are in this sphere have to deal with, honestly. How do most found footage and VHS channels even survive if this is the bag they are being given to dealt with? You shouldn't have to dodge, look, and move around, try to find loopholes. You shouldn't have to super ultra analyze copyright law among several countries just because you wanted to remaster a song or feature stock footage in your VHS found footage film. These are things humanity has been doing forever. I shouldn't need to spell it out for you. Documentaries exist. Hell, when I look back on it, what early documentaries even shouted people out? I would argue we've gotten much better about that in the modern year. You go to any video me and most people make, you will find some way to trace it back to the guy who originally made that stock footage in that media, because half the time, sorry for my mess up of speech, half the time there are copyright tags anyway that just show up in our description that we can't control. You know, for example, whenever I do a song, there's a little tag at the bottom. I don't put that there. YouTube puts that there by default to show the artist. So if YouTube has already taken steps to stop this, why are we still getting hit up like we're Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield? This is all to say, recently I tried to remaster the film White Zombie. I made a post on this a while ago, but this is an old film made in 1930, well, put out in 1932. You know, we all know what era was what was happening during that era, and we don't want to talk about it. So it's a miracle films like this are in existence for us to view, because when you talk about a lot of footage from the 30s, it got lost during World War II. So it's a miracle we have White Zombie even to begin with. So I wanted to remaster it, put it in 4K, 60 FPS, with a nice coat of HDR for everybody. And guess what? Actual motion tracking and actual camera stability features, with a clarity feature to make everything beautiful. That's what I wanted to do, and that's what I did. The film is public domain in the United States, and because, well, obviously, I have Lancaster County, PA, put as my banner for the channel art, so it's obvious my main following is mostly here in my city, not just very generalized United States area. You cannot be any more specific as to where my following is at, okay? Between this channel, Photo Freak Photography, all my other spare stuff, well, even though Photo Freak is abandoned, there's still a lot of followers on there that still pop in occasionally to this channel somehow. Thank you guys for occasionally coming to see what I'm doing. The entire 9,000 some people between all my accounts, when I say 9,000, I'm only 1,500 some on this channel, but accounts in general, it's around 9,000. Very generalized area. You know where my people are at. You know what laws I'm trying to follow. I can understand if it gets blocked in the world abroad, but I shouldn't have companies from the United Kingdom taking down my video as a United States citizen when, guess what? there is no agreement between the United States, the United Kingdom, or Europe in general, North America in general, however you want to slice it, there are no agreements between where White Zombie is placed. Every country has different laws for the film White Zombie and if it's public domain or not. And even in the United States, we debate if White Zombie should even be public domain because companies keep trying to put claims on it that never had any making in making the film, any knowing of the producers, their families, the director, the actors. No offense, I highly doubt any of Bela Lugosi's friends, family, concubines. I highly doubt anybody anybody who knew Bela Lugosi as a actual human being is here. I mention him because he's one of the famous actors from the film. I'm just trying to put out a point here. At best, you're gonna find people who redistributed them, put them in higher resolutions without doing any extra work, and that's it. You have absolutely nobody who made these films who are around today. The closest things are companies that came out of it but don't have full rights to it. And guess what? What companies do have rights to it, at least here in the States, put it under public domain. So why? And all is that to mention the fact this gets even more frustrating because after trying to go through a counter claim that didn't work, after contacting the parent company and the company that initially put out the copyright strike, no responses after a good few weeks now. And that is in addition to, guess what? After even hitting up Google themselves, nobody wants to do anything about fixing this issue of random people getting copyright strikes for what will amount to no reason, even though we are perfectly following our fucking laws. Can you tell I'm a little heated right now? There's a whole lot of things I usually don't rely on. I don't rely on YouTube. But what I usually rely on is the fact that I can at least get some sort of video out there for people. I rely on that. I rely heavily on the fact that when everything else around me fails, I have this dang microphone. I have the computer around me. I have my keyboard. I have my controller. I have my glasses. I have my mouse. I have this camera. You get what I'm saying? At least I will have the ability to put out videos when all else fails. If I'm really that desperate, I don't know where I put it right now, I can at least use my cell phone. I think my cell phone's charging in the other room, honestly. But I can at least use my cell phone, and I can still make generic vlog-style videos. No matter what, at the end of the day, no matter how broke or desperate, no matter what happens in the world, no matter what, I will at least have YouTube. But when things like this happen, my confidence in YouTube and the ability to do things just doesn't work. For example, I rely heavily on making lore videos. I'm about to put out my ultimate compilation of the hardcore lore for Five Nights at Freddy's. The ultimate extended informational timeline you need for the core of the franchise. And guess what? That's going to heavily rely on fair use as a defense. Yeah, because guess what? We're automatically talking about someone else's media, and I have an interest in it. But it won't surprise me if I try to upload that video, and because I have an hour or so of gameplay in there, probably more, I'm going to get hit up with copyright left, right, front, and center, and I will be stuck defending that video, trying to get it put public for what will amount to 5 views probably. This is the state of YouTube we are stuck in. It's one thing when YouTube doesn't put out the videos. And I know they don't put out the videos. It gets shadow suppressed. Because guess what? A view is not the same thing as a long-time viewer. We get statistics on all this stuff. I know if people click. I know if people scroll past and just look at it for a few seconds. I know if people even get it in their feeds. we get really in-depth statistics about how all this works. We truly do. In our creator dashboards. Not gonna lie. In our creative dashboards, I'm not gonna show any of this because I don't want to accidentally break any YouTube rules or policies by this point. And I don't want to do an extra 3 hours of research. I know literally everything about what my fan base and what my non-fan base does in terms of this channel. Let me tell you something, YouTube. If you want me to believe my videos are getting put out there after 9 years and not getting shadow suppressed, not getting segregated against because they use somewhat copyrighted materials and I rely on the usual defenses against it, you know, honestly, the fact that each video doesn't at least average 300 viewers, not long-time viewers, just clicks on the video, that counts as a view. I'm not talking about watching for a minute. I'm not talking about watching for 5 minutes. I'm not talking about watching for 20 minutes. I'm just talking about you clicked on the video, you saw it for so much as a second, and that counted as a view. That's how it works. But guess what? Yeah, where's the average of 300 viewers a video that I should be getting from this channel size? And from the fact that I'm decently known in my area. If I'm not getting shadow suppressed because of copyright and stuff like that. There's no explanation for it. I can see all the statistics. So, unless you're pranking me with the statistics, or unless the internet is just broken here, yeah. And again, not mad at the lower people at YouTube. Not even mad at YouTube as a whole. Not mad at Google as a whole. What I am mad at, how this all works, how this constantly affects smaller channels, how this constantly screws people, and how mostly at the end of the day it makes me lose confidence in the fact that even though I will have the ability to always post videos, it might not even matter in the long run. You know, no offense here, call me crazy, but I'm gonna be buried with a clown mask on if after 30 years of posting, I can't average some sort of constant viewership or something like that. Like, again, I'm so much as happy as if one person views the video, which I've never had a video truly get no views. Even the videos that say no views, and when I look in the statistics in the dashboard, there are people who've watched the video. What do you want me to say? Like, YouTube is just screwed up, it's messed up, and I feel like most of us are posting just to put on clown masks every day. It legitimately feels like that sometimes. And it's not just because of the screaming into the void sometimes feeling, it's the feeling of when you follow everything correctly within your country's standings, when you try to follow YouTube's guidelines correctly to a T, which often tells you to refer to your country's laws and stuff like that. It just gets doubly frustrating, and then you find stuff like this where it conflicts, and then in the long run you find out it affects so many other things about your channel that it honestly makes you want to throw your head into a dartboard sometimes while people are throwing darts at you, if you get what I'm saying. Good old-fashioned pin the tail on the Johnny. Anyway, I could go on and rant forever and ever and ever, and honestly I'm debating just doing a real talk series from now on because I'm actually enjoying this style of content more and more when I realize how much is screwed up about the damn world. And it's honestly a callback to how we just shitpost on people. And honestly, I'm debating if we should bring the shitposting series back. Like, ironically enough, since I did the Money Talks video, even though it didn't get really any views, I still actually kind of enjoyed it. I enjoy talking a lot, honestly. I enjoy making videos in general. I would love just to be the lore guy. But when you make me mad, I'm no longer the lore guy. I'm no longer the let's make storytelling videos guy. Well, we can't do remasters anymore. I'm no longer the does remasters guy. I'm just the, hey, you know, you and all the bullshit and everything we have to deal with on a damn daily basis. Go fuck yourself. Just genuinely go fuck yourself, YouTube. Anyway, have a great fucking day, everyone. Love ya.